Hi everyone, I'm Stacey Glenn
Yvonne Gallegos.
with John R. Wood Properties, Top Agent Team Florida, and we are here to talk with you about the latest in Southwest Florida luxury real estate market.
So we're looking at the current state of the Fort Myers and Cape Coral housing market and how you can take advantage of the shifting market.
And what buyers and sellers are talking about today. Sellers are facing new realities. Homes are staying on the market longer, price reductions are more common, and a lot of sellers are asking, do we hold off or do we list it now? First up, let's talk about interest rates. Are flirting with going into the fives, and we all think that if they go into the fives, that will be a game changer. That will get a lot of buyers off of the sidelines who have been waiting to buy because they can afford to purchase that higher priced home. We are seeing a shift. According to recent data, the closed sales price is down about 1%. But the days on market is climbing. We were at 59 days on market last year, and now we're at 76. So that's how many days it takes for a home to go under contract.
Inventory is trickling up. It's up at 3.49%, which is over 40,000 homes for sale across Southwest Florida. Closed sales down year over year, which has been trending down for the last 3 years. So, and September tends to be the month that is a little slower. So down 5% in closed sales. And like Stacey said earlier, the sales price is down only 1% year over year. So not a big difference in prices considering the amount of inventory that we have. People are readjusting, taking their home off, figuring out if it's not the right time. And month supply is at 7-month supply, which is in favor practically a buyer's market.
Okay, second thing up, what are buyers saying? What are sellers saying? And in the forums and the agent chats that we're monitoring, we're hearing these kinds of things. So one thing that I'm hearing buyers talk about right now is Cape Coral again. There are opportunities to buy a home in Cape Coral.
And lots of new construction.
Right. Another one, everyone's talking about the inventory, right? Everyone's talking about how many homes are on the market. In Fort Myers, we had 7,800 new homes listed in September and 4,000 sold. In Cape Coral, we had 9,900 homes listed in September and 5,400 purchased. So inventory is on the rise. And the building boom, like Yvonne, you're very up to date on all of the new construction. You sell a lot of new construction. Building boom in Southwest Florida is off the hook, and this means that everyone is watching to see what the builders are doing.
So as a seller, if you have a resale home, it makes it more difficult to compete. Yeah, so we have to get creative.
Yes.
And I've gone on a lot of appointments lately, and more than half have decided that they would just hold on to it for at least another year and see what happens.
Right, and okay, I've gone on 20 listing appointments since the middle of August, and in half of those they've asked me my opinion, and many times I've said if I were you, I would wait to sell.
It just depends on the motivation behind it.
Right. If you need to sell, you need to sell, or if you have an opportunity to buy at a great price, then it makes sense to sell low. But for many people who are not that motivated, I just recommend that they wait. Don't enter the market and add more inventory to the market.
Unless you're all in.
Right. If you're all in.
If you're all in
right.
And you're ready, like how they asked me, the last one, another person asked me, how fast do you think, I said, well, if you take my advice, we'll get an offer.
Right. Right.
So,
exactly.
and advice is more than just the price.
Right. So with insurance costs and storm risk continuing to be factors for both buyers and sellers, this is especially relevant to our Southwest Florida luxury segment. I'm seeing also a shift, and buyers are talking about, is this in a flood zone? Does it have impact rated windows and doors? Did it take in any water in the past? Everyone's really looking at what is the safety factor and the storm resiliency factor of this home. In short, buyers have more leverage and sellers need an updated strategy. A market makeover.
Yes.
Now let's talk about the local luxury market in Southwest Florida. In our luxury segment, so think gated communities, waterfront estates, and high-end renovations, the story is a little bit different. So while the overall market absorption is a little bit smaller, well-positioned homes are still performing, and we're starting to see opportunities for discerning buyers and sellers.
So for luxury homes for sale in Southwest Florida, if your home is in pristine condition, properly staged, and priced accordingly for the community, I would say that you can still attract a well amount of qualified buyers, and in some cases end up in a multiple offer situation.
And for buyers, if you have increased inventory, it can mean negotiating power. Now you have options.
And buyers, keep in mind that if it's something like it's a gem and you think it's wonderful, somebody else thinks it's wonderful too, even in a slow market.
It is really hit or miss in the market. It really, you have to have the right kind of pricing, you have to be in pristine condition and have the upgrades that buyers see as valuable. And that kind of presentation will get the house under contract quickly.
And things like outside factors that you can't really change, location, things like that, if they might affect a buyer's decision now, and they wouldn't have when they didn't have as many choices.
Right.
So,
and it's about the lifestyle as well. So there are specific neighborhoods where lifestyle is a major draw. So pricing strategy and terms matter more now than they did in the overheated market years. We have some advice for buyers and sellers. Let's get started with the buyers. If you are a buyer, number one most important thing is get pre-qualified with your lender now. Look at those 6.2 interest rates. They may go down some more. If you don't have that, then you can't do anything.
And make sure you're looking at or working with a lender that is familiar with Florida, because sometimes they don't factor in the insurance or the fees that go with living in Florida. And that can completely throw off your budget if you're not factoring that in.
And if you have no idea what your insurance costs are going to be, just pick up the phone and call an agent and we can talk you through it. I mean, for a single family house, it's going to depend on whether it's a newer home or an older home. You could be looking anywhere from $1,500 a year to $9,000, $10,000 a year, or for luxury homes up from there.
And taxes.
Taxes are going to probably be 1 to 1.5% of the purchase price. Can't rely on what they were last year. Flood insurance if you're going to be in a flood zone.
And HOA fees, because we had the other day, you go on Zillow, Realtor.com, they're giving fees that are not reality.
Right.
And so, you think it's one thing, and then we had to totally switch up the neighborhood because it wasn't possible.
Right. So you definitely want to be looking at what the fees are in these homes. If you have, you should definitely start in the price range where you are approved or where you are comfortable. Explore everything that's available there. Talk to your agent about what we can be flexible with. But if you have exhausted all of your options, then you could go up to just above your threshold. But you can look at homes that have been on the market for longer than average. Those homes may have some flexibility. There are still some old school sellers who think a buyer will bring me an offer if they like the home and they don't want to lower the price. So you can start digging and looking for that needle in a haystack.
For sellers, if you're thinking to list your home, it is absolutely important that you are market ready. If you haven't really done anything to your house as far as maintenance and stuff, a pre-listing inspection goes a long way to let you know, because when people are coming shopping right now, they don't want to do anything.
Right. And you don't want to have any surprises that could derail the deal. So I am recommending for sellers to go ahead and get an inspection done before listing it. Get the inspection done. Repair anything that is something that's a deficiency that you're going to need to disclose anyway, and then show the buyer, this is the report, this is what we did, this is what we didn't do, here you go. And I've had one instance last month where I had a buyer waive the inspection because they felt comfortable with all the information that they had.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So you be prepared. Do everything that you can to make the home look as ready as it can be, and that way you're not sitting on the market for months and months waiting for a buyer to come along. And then price it realistically.
Yeah, for that, whatever is going on right then at that time. We're not talking about a year ago. I get a lot of that last year. Anything more than 5, 6 months, 4 months, 5 is like really pushing it. So anything like that,
Right.
it's like it's out the window.
Right. And then highlighting the lifestyle advantages of the home. So if it's waterfront, if it has golf, or it have specific community amenities.
Resort style, location.
But make sure you align your expectations with today's market. And then in the marketing, we have to attract the right buyer for the home. So the key words that we use in selling the homes in Southwest Florida are very critical in order to catch the eye of the buyer who is the best fit for the property.
Yes, for sure. In video, in
The description,
everything. Everything.
So if you're thinking about relocating or investing, right now is a very strategic time to get into the market in Southwest Florida. You can get a fantastic deal. If you are a seller and you're not serious, now is not the time to just test the water and see what's going to happen. I'll tell you what's going to happen. Nothing will happen. You need to be very...
Crickets.
I mean, I don't mean to sound rude, but it's nothing's going to happen. It's not that kind of a market where you can just throw a property out there and the market's going to gobble it up. So, interest rates are still modest compared to overall. I mean, they're double what they were in the pandemic, but they're still in the low 6s. And so just make sure that you're adjusting for your insurance and your carrying costs and your overall financial picture, though, when you're looking at the property in Southwest Florida.
But don't be so hung up on that, because I think now that you have the opportunity to negotiate, you can always get a credit and get the interest rate down even more. So
Right. Yep. Sellers are definitely...
there's ways to be creative right now.
Definitely. So in summary, the Southwest Florida real estate market is shifting. We have more inventory, more choices, longer timelines, more negotiation power, but still very strong prospects for smart buyers and sellers.
And still moving in relation to other parts of the country.
Yes. If you want to know what your home is worth, you can contact Yvonne and I. We will give you a no pressure, direct market analysis, let you know what you could expect in today's market, what you should price it at, how long you can expect for that to take, and what the result would be, so that you have all of the information you need to make a smart decision.
And ask for everything that we do to get a property sold.
Right.
Because we go on a lot of appointments that they already tested the water and it didn't work.
True.
So I can look at it and say, hey, I think they really did everything. I think price was the issue.
That's true.
At the time. Or I think that it wasn't captured properly. It needs a refresh.
Right. I get, now I understand what you're saying. I get that a lot too with an expired listing, and they'll say, what do you think? And I'll look at it, and sometimes I say, they did a great job. Really. What kind of feedback did you get? Did you have any showings? And we can talk about pricing then. Other times I can look right at it and say, this is terrible. This did not capture the right buyer for this home. This is what we need to do. Sometimes the price is the same or even higher. Not very often, but sometimes. And we can get it sold.
So sometimes you just need a refresh and a reset
market
and
makeover.
a makeover.
Market makeover.
So we're into home makeover challenge.
Don't forget to like and comment and subscribe to our channels so that you don't miss our next monthly market update. I'm Stacey Glenn.
Yvonne Gallegos.
And we'll see you next time with more insights on the Fort Myers luxury market.